What's up, everybody, and welcome to Moments with the Mobleys. I am your man, Johnnie Mobley Jr.,
And I am his woman, Deirdra Mobley,
and we are something like an ordinary couple.
with extraordinary purpose.
Greetings, salutations, accolades, and blessings.
Greetings, salutations, accolades, and
You
blessings.
can't say it after I say it.
I can. Don't be trying to take my thunder.
Well, your thunder snap crackling right now, because...
Is my lipstick on?
Mm-hmm.
Good. It's not.
You said it's not. Oh, what I'm looking at.
It's not given what it's supposed to be given. Probably not. I did have some food.
Just go fix it right here on in front of the people.
Hey, y'all. Talk to the people, baby. Tell them hi.
Hey, y'all, we waiting. I'm waiting too.
I'm done.
As she fix her lipstick
Don't do it.
that I obviously didn't know was messed up.
It's not fixed.
It's that
not
woman
fixed.
thing.
It's okay.
Allison was like, "Yeah, it ain't."
It came off on the cup. It's coming off on that. You know, babe. How are you?
I'm fine.
You good?
Yeah. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. We're gonna talk a little bit about some emotions. Men and their emotions.
Oh Lord,
Well, why you oh lording me?
we ain't got no emotion. I'm just playing.
Well, some people, want to think that y'all don't, but y'all do, right?
Yeah, we very emotional creatures.
Are you an emotional creature, baby?
I am.
You are?
I think I have a lot of emotions.
Uh-huh.
Go somewhere everywhere at times.
Right. Are you comfortable sharing, when you're going when you deal with different types of emotions like um sadness and, when you're struggling, anger, fear, are you okay sharing those emotions?
It's not as bad as excuse me, y'all. It's not as bad as what it used to be. You gonna cut that part out?
Probably not. It's
So it's
probably
not
going
as
to get
bad. It's not as bad.
some type of reel by itself.
So it's not as bad as it used to be.
Uh-huh.
But every now and then I find myself sometimes with everything we got going on.
Mhm.
If I continue to move,
Mhm.
then I'm fine. But if I slow down at any point in time, I start thinking about everything,
Mhm.
and it gets a little overwhelming. And I be like, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it no more.
What about like anxiousness, anxiety, overwhelmed?
The anxiety part, the overwhelm is probably what I feel the most
Mhm.
at times. But then I have to compartmentalize myself to an isolated focus on taking what's in my head and putting it down on paper and
Right.
looking at it so it can seem doable. Because when it's in your head, you're just going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing.
Right.
And it be information overload. So,
It'd be too much.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, I came across this. It was something based on something that Allison put out about men and emotions, their
We need to
emotions,
have
and
Allison on the podcast. What you
how they share and stuff. They've actually been on the podcast before,
I'm
baby.
just talking about Allison, not just I think you and her need to do a wrap it up or unpack this or going out on Saturday, whatever one of the ones podcasts you got.
Podcasts?
Mm.
That ain't even correct English.
Podcast.
Are you in your mic correctly? So they
I'm
won't have
not
to
in the
figure it
mic.
out.
Am I in the mic?
We just want to make sure that
Am I in the mic, slave driver?
Am I the slave? Are you talking to Allison? Are you
Yeah.
talking to me? Oh my gosh! Did you just call her a slave driver?
Slave driver.
I can't.
I need you to talk in your mic.
Of course, you're the man in my life, and so I'm very much in tune to your emotions, your silence, sometimes your demeanor. the way you talk to me, sometimes the way you don't have anything to say. I can tell when you're in deep thought. I can tell when there's a lot going on in your brain and you're trying to make some decisions. I can tell. I've seen anger. You don't get angry a lot. You're 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 not that's not who you are at all.
But if I do,
But I've seen you. It wasn't at me. It
it
was
probably
at
was
it was
about my
it
family.
was about us,
Yeah,
right? And
that's
that
the only
was
way
not
I.
good.
Yeah,
That was not good. So I've seen all the different emotions in you, and the one thing that I know you're not afraid to let me see your emotions.
we've been together too long,
That's the one thing that I'm very sure of, is that you're not afraid to let me see your
and I
emotions.
will if and I will. Most of the time, you can see it on me, but I will verbalize. I'm a talker, so what I will do is tell you certain things. Every now and then, I have to get my thoughts together
Mhm.
to be able to say it because I have to say it in a way that um I use my words so it doesn't pull you in with me
Right.
the way you're thinking that is your fault or you had something to do with it, but still be
Mhm.
transparent. And with most of the things now, I can just have conversations and say it because my my brain is programmed to use my words and use them wisely, and
Mhm.
I've been doing it for a while. But still, when it
Mhm.
comes to that, because a lot of times I don't know where the feelings come from. Like I do get sad sometimes. I know what can uplift me quickly is seeing my girls, seeing my grandkids, seeing you. That can uplift me quickly.
Mhm.
But yeah, sometimes I mean, being a man it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, especially I'll say being a man is hard when you don't know who you are in the
Mhm.
world.
Yeah.
Not who people say you are, but
Mhm.
if you don't know who you are and then confident in that,
Right.
then yeah, that's a problem for a man. If he don't know his identity, then what's happening is he getting pulled to and fro trying to fit in everybody else's narrative of what somebody thinks a man is.
Yeah.
And that ain't no way to live. I done been there before.
Mhm.
I mean, trying to find my foot. So
Okay. Um, of course, once I saw that, and then I started thinking that we could talk. This is something that we could talk about because um, some men do struggle with sharing their emotions with their wife, girlfriend, that woman in their life, or just sharing their emotions in general with with their families or with the world,
are they
especially on social
homeboy,
media, right?
having somebody
Their
they can
friends and
trust. Yeah.
right, absolutely. And these I came across this article on Men's Line, Australia, and of course it was saying that just our emotional state dictates how we behave, you know. And it says men often feel they need to be self-reliant, provide for their loved ones, so sometimes it's not appropriate to express how they feel,
Right.
you know, because you're looked at as this, you're the leader, and you're the the king of the castle, and you are the one responsible for these, whether it's your wife or your kids or your grandkids. You're you're the one that's the set man in the house, and you provide and you protect. And but what happens when you're dealing with stuff, um and you don't feel like you have an outlet or a way to freely open up and talk about it and get help?
Yeah. It's so I believe it's two categories. So it's the one where the guy does not understand who he is. Um, so he's trying to find his identity as well as do all the things you just said.
Mhm.
So that's hard to do when you don't feel like you're being successful in that and you're not confident in what you might think or thought that you were supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a girlfriend, then the wife, then the babies, then the bills, and then the purchase of the house. So a lot of men feel like they get lost in that stuff
Right.
and they can't find their way no more. And then before they know it, they wake up and it's 30, 40 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So all the things they might have talked about when they were younger that they might have had as goals, here it is 40 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So now just going every day on a regular basis and not going after your dreams or your goals or keeping them alive,
Mm-hmm.
now you turn into somebody else. Now you still don't know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
All these years done passed by. You don't feel like you got enough time now. And now you pissed off at your wife and your kids because you done feel like you done invested and gave all this to them and you didn't pay attention to yourself. And that's not what that is. It's not what that is. When you when you take on responsibility as a husband and a father and a provider and somebody so, that provides security, all that stuff comes with marriage. It just comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but where I can tell you this, where men fall at is they non-communication about everything. What they feeling, how to put it in words, who to
Mm-hmm.
actually talk to, and be um, feel confident that they can talk to somebody without somebody diminishing them.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Their manhood.
yeah, so that's where it comes into play at. And I've said before, once you have something small that you don't deal with, it grows bigger and then it starts dragging you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened.
Be the elephant with the clothes on it.
No, that's not what it
Okay.
is.
All right.
If
Okay.
you don't leave this
Okay.
elephant with this clothes
Okay. I'm gonna
on.
leave the elephant where it's at now.
But yeah, that part it's tough. It's tough. And a lot of men trying to figure out a lot of men trying to still figure out their identity. So they just going out here and making themselves feel good or feel important however they could.
To try to cover up
Yeah.
like
So
true
now
feelings or true emotions.
Yeah. So now not only do you have a girlfriend or a wife, now you got about 2, 3 women you mess with that got babies. Now you got all these different lives you entangled with, and you still don't know who you are.
Well, see, you going down a whole nother different road
Yeah.
of things, and
But
I get that.
but the two things I was saying was the guy that does not know their identity and allows the life just consumes them until they find themselves waking up 40 years later,
Mm-hmm.
wondering what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the guy who has a plan, um, who tries to work the plan as best as possible
Mm-hmm.
and begin to move in the direction, and then life happens. You
Mm-hmm.
lose your job. You lose your health, your physical health goes down or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because you can't do the things, now you feel less than a man, and then you retreat into a hole.
Yeah. One thing that it shared on the article, it was saying when we're upset, women are more likely to express the feelings directly and seek support of friends or family, whereas the man might hide their emotions or withdraw.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't have the outlet of a close friend that they know they can trust to share that with. You know what I'm saying, in their circle.
Yeah.
um, this was actually looking at from a perspective of a woman versus the perspective of a man and how
Yeah.
they handle dealing with the different emotions. So in this, the four basic emotions that was listed is sadness, anger, happiness, and fear. But it was saying that, of course, um, because of the man feeling like they need to be the self-reliant one and provide for the loved ones, it's not okay, it's not okay or it's not appropriate for them to express their emotions. It says this behavior can be reinforced in the stereotype of the heroic male.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, wow, when I read that, like he sometimes the man, especially the leader of the home, put on this pedestal of You always got to be okay. You always got to be in charge. You always got to know what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we or whether it's the I hope I never held that held you up like that. If does that make sense? Like I hope I never was that wife to make you feel like you always had to have it together. You always had to, you know what I'm saying? Like because that's a lot to carry
It wasn't.
as the whole heroic male who,
Yeah, but
you
this
know,
it wasn't just you, but it was the life that I saw for our family, and then having all them kids, and
of
so it
course.
was a lot of pressure because I'm the man of the house, so I need to
Yeah,
provide, I
yeah.
need to do all that stuff. So what usually happens is sometimes it is the woman or um um,
Cuz
um
that can be added pressure, I think
yeah,
is what I'm wanting to say.
sometimes it is the wife or the woman, and it can be other pressures. If your grandmama and your mama told you all kind of crap when you were smaller, and your daddy told you you don't need to go to school, you need to find a career, a job, da 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 da. So it's a lot of different things that seeds are sown that what you might think that you're supposed to do as a
Mhm.
man,
Mhm.
and men get lost in their identity just in that,
Yeah.
and they try to walk in
Excuse
their
me.
father's shoes, or not walking their father's shoes, or what they didn't see their dad do.
Mhm.
So that happens. That happens quite a lot. But I think the added pressure, we put pressure on ourselves
Mhm.
as a man.
Mhm.
Period. So any reasonable sense man who has an idea of what they might want their life to be, with a wife and children and a family and a home and all this stuff, they put themselves under a type of pressure. They
Mhm.
have an expectation of how they want to do, how they want to treat their wife, how they want their kids to live. So that's what they do. And a lot of times the wife ain't never asked you for that. The
Yeah.
kids ain't too young. They don't even know. They just want to
Yeah.
be with mom and daddy.
Yeah.
So you do all this stuff for yourself. And I think that is a distraction to stop you from getting to finding out who you really are.
But then you can also all those things that you just named about the where you get the idea that that's what you have to be.
Yeah.
It can be stuff that you've drawn from, and you say this all the time. It can be from stuff that you've drawn from how your mama, well, this is what you always say. You in bondage because looking at how your mama them did it, how your grandmama them did it, this person did it,
Yeah.
and you think that you have to mimic that, and be that in your own marriage or in your own
Yeah.
life.
They ain't even your
Yeah, that's
stuff.
that's what the article was saying as
Yeah,
well.
it ain't even your stuff. It's like it's almost unfair. Even with us, we have expectations on our children before they even get here. And then when they're born, we have an idea of what we want them to do. I was caught in that because I had an idea of what I wanted my girls to do in the decisions that they make, and I thought this would be the best path for them.
Mm.
Ain't none of them jokers did none of the stuff that I wanted them to do. Yep,
Uh-huh.
none of them.
Uh-huh.
Everybody did something different.
And in that, though, that was a lot of emotion.
Oh
You were
yeah,
emotion
because I
filled.
was, and you had to pull 'em. You had to say, baby, you got to let them live their life. They little funky life. They don't know what their life is. They ain't been born.
You
They
got
ain't
me
been,
about to choke.
they don't know. We've been living longer than them. They need to listen. They need to listen. And what I found out was because we were present parents and I was a present dad,
Hmm.
that they did listen. I would just find out that it was years after that they actually took the stuff and used it.
Right.
But they did listen.
Right. But for you, even in that moment, and like I said, I'm extremely glad that we have the type of relationship that we have. That when you were going through that period of, because some of it was, I think some of it for you was like disappointment. Am I correct?
Yeah.
A little bit disappointment, a little at sometimes a little, like maybe even a little bit of it was like for a minute you were a little mad. I think
Yeah,
that
I
that they
was.
yeah that they didn't
I was. And my,
um
my biggest thing with being angry was because I am I see, I have vision and I see far. The one thing I'm thinking, when y'all go down this road and y'all make these mistakes, we gonna be the first people y'all call,
mhm
which means we gonna have to adjust our life for something that wasn't even a part of our life. You
mhm
brought it in our life.
mhm.
So do what I tell you to do, and we ain't got to do this.
Ooh.
That's what my mind
But
used to think.
imagine if
That
and
was my mind used to think.
but I couldn't wrap my mind around that because like I told you and I shared it with you and I think I shared it with you in the most humble way possible like baby, you got to remember the thing that you're expecting them to do was the very thing that we didn't do.
No, we
Even
didn't.
when we were in the cuz so think about our parents had that same perception because I can remember when we weren't married, but you were away at AIT and I wanted to come to your graduation, right?
Mm.
And so I had already made plans with your parents to keep Brianna while I was gone because I was going to take the bus. And Jesus, did it take me like, oh, I rode the bus all day,
It took like
literally
5 days.
24 hours. It didn't take me 5 days to get there, but I
It
was
was a
coming.
long
I
time.
was coming. It literally
Rode
took
the
me,
Greyhound all the way
I
there.
rode the Greyhound literally for 24 hours
And I think I
to get to
came
you.
back with you, right?
You did. You
Okay,
came back
because
with
that
me.
was the okay.
Yeah, you came back with me. But I was serious about my man. I rode that Greyhound bus for 24 hours to get to him.
Yeah.
Oh, it got to be love. But I brought that up to say, my parents were they were funny at that point. I just thought that they were real. Y'all crazy because my dad was like, "Well, should you go? You're gonna be on the bus by yourself, and you can just wait till he come back home. Should you? Is this a trip that you should take?" And then on the other hand, I was talking to my when I would talk to my mama. Well, do you think it's a good idea for you to go and you'll be going by yourself? And I remember, and I think I shared it with you. I was like, my parents tripping because my dad and mom, of course, are not together. They never married each other. But I was like, man, y'all crazy because I'm going to see Johnny. Like I'm a whole, let me see. So that was when you left. That was what 91.
Yeah.
So I was
We was engaged.
17. Yeah, we were engaged. I was 18. Yeah, I was 18. I'm like, I'm legit grown. At that point, I lived with my daddy, and I was like, and so y'all trying to tell me I can't go see my fiance graduate from AIT? Lied you tell. And so I basically just made sure that it was okay with your parents for Brianna to come over there, and they was like, yeah, it's fine. And I left and I went. So when you said that just now, or when you said it before, I thought about like, I'm sure that our parents had a picture
Yeah.
of what they thought that we should do and decisions that we should and we shouldn't make. But that was a time a time where, like I said, I'm laughing because at that point in time, it didn't matter what y'all see or what y'all want from me. I'm going to see my fiance graduate
Yeah.
from AIT. And so that's why I said, I laugh about it. But even in that, you were able to share with me what you were feeling, how you were feeling. Um, for me, at first, I couldn't understand why it was so emotional for you.
Mm.
But once you explained it to me, um, excuse me, I was able to understand it, but I was also able to give it back to you in a way to say, baby, you got to give, you gonna run yourself crazy, and it's a whole lot of them
Yeah.
to not do what you see them supposed to be doing because, like I said, at the end of the day, they were only loaned to us by God.
Yeah.
And he got them.
And
And
that's tougher
what we
to
have given to them, you got to trust and believe that it's in them.
yeah.
And it's going to always be in them. And they'll always, they'll
Because
always come back to what they
I
know.
definitely see it now.
Absolutely.
I didn't see none of
Absolutely.
that back in the day. I didn't.
Absolutely. One of the four emotions that I talked about was the happiness, the fear, the anger, the sadness. And it says happiness is considered the most acceptable in society, yet anger, fear, and sadness are universally felt by everyone. These emotions serve valuable purposes and are normal responses to threat and loss. The fear and sadness are generally not accepted. Um, well, fear and sadness are generally not as accepted. Men might try to hide these from themselves and those around them. They feel they should be able to cope with all that, on their own. And so by that, they tend to withdraw from family and friends, work longer hours. Now, this is the coping mechanism. But spending more time away from home, consuming more alcohol. Now, when I saw that, I was like, okay, okay. Behaving recklessly and or violently. Just pretty much, like I said, trying to cope
Yeah.
without having the tools to do what you need to do, right? Um, and so for me, it gets to the point to where you say, well, why talk about it? Why talk about it? You talking about it to me helped you to understand, and you were able to get it out. You were able to put it on the table and give it to me because you trusted me.
Yeah.
And then I was able to kind of give it to you from a different perspective, and that helped you with clarity.
Yeah. And you talk about the girls, right?
Yeah.
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 So
Or just
you
anything,
said, give me the 4 again.
excuse me. Sadness, anger, fear, and happiness.
And I feel that the core of all that is fear. The rest of the stuff is the byproducts of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's what we label it to be. But I can almost 1,000% say with confidence that is fear. A fear of not being the man you are, a fear of not being able to take care of your family, a fear of not knowing who you are, a fear, and that's all things not only men but women face too.
Mm-hmm.
But women communicate a lot more, so they can pad it a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can almost like work themselves through daily days into different places,
Mm-hmm.
and then try to do it. So I think they can prolong it more and make it
Mm-hmm.
seem like that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe men can make it seem like it's not the case. Just like you said, they
Mm-hmm.
isolate
Right.
and they
From
try
it.
to figure out a different way to cope with it. And that's the thing. The coping mechanism for women is communicating and just diving into something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, proactive, whether it's imparting, doing something, clothes, shop, whatever it is. And we don't. We drink, we be by
Smoke.
ourselves,
Right.
we
Isolate.
smoke, and all these things help us think. All of it. That's what we tell ourselves. If I drink, that's when I'm in my place. I
Yes.
can, I be cool. I can think about something. When I smoke, when I hit that blunt, man, I'm just in a different place, and it just helped me with my thinking and everything, and I'm more sharp and all this. All that's a myth. That ain't true.
So listen, it says of those four emotions, I think I read this a minute ago. Happiness is considered the most acceptable in society. Why do you think? Because
Because
you ain't got to deal with all that other funky
yeah,
stuff that come with fear and
yeah.
anxiety and all that stuff. That's
I say
concern.
when a man is in that emotional place where he's sad or he's unhappy or whatever the case is, sometimes going to a job and somebody else having a sense of happiness, it's easy to jump on their coattail and just ride their happiness and keep
Mm-hmm.
themselves out of dealing with their
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Well, I can see that. I can see that. Um, it says all the emotions serve valuable purposes and are normal responses to threat and loss. But I want to focus on a little more of the happiness one because we can talk about sadness, we can talk about anger, we can talk about fear. There are moments of happiness. I remember you told a couple this the other night. There are moments of happiness are that you can't make somebody happy. Is that
No.
what you told them?
Yeah.
Give them what you told them.
So it's and I tell people this all the time. It's not my responsibility to make it's not my responsibility
Hmm.
to make my wife happy.
Right.
I have to my responsibility is to find my own joy in life,
Mm-hmm.
and then my wife can have moments to where she can enhance. She have moments of happy to give me happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely absurd to believe that I married my wife and now it's her job to make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
Because half of the time, I don't, when I was there, I didn't know why I wasn't happy.
Right.
So how can you help somebody with something that you don't even know what it is? And that's vice versa. So my job is not my responsibility to make this healthy is
Mm-hmm.
for me to find my joy
Mm-hmm.
and become whole. And then that will enhance our relationship.
Right.
And the same for you. It's not That's absurd. So now you add on this, not knowing who you are, not sure what a man is, not knowing how you gonna take care of your wife, your children, and now I married this woman. Now I got to make her happy. I got to make sure these kids happy. And yeah, That's all that stuff is a myth of what you think you supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So you carry all that, and then a lot of men, when you talk to them 40 years, I lost myself. I don't know who I am. I've been doing all this stuff for everybody else, and they don't even care about me. Now you bitter
Mm.
with your wife and your kids because you feel like now what you've done, which was that was your responsibility when you said, marry me.
Mm-hmm.
Now you feel like it's a burden.
Yeah.
Your whole family is a burden now because you feel like you neglected your dreams. Nobody asked you about your dreams, and you just helped everybody with their stuff and made them happy.
Well, like I said, I wanted you to share that with them about the happiness part and about you told you all we provide moments of happiness
Yeah.
for each other. And one of the things that excuse me, one of the things that we like to do, um as y'all know, we have our date nights, and so sometimes we incorporate different things into that. That's the time, because our week gets so busy
Mm.
and everything, we think about what we can do. I know I do, and I know you do it as well. But the one thing that we really like to do, to encourage these moments of happiness. Why are you looking at me like
Because
you're
I'm a little
crazy?
afraid
You
about what you're about
nervous?
to say.
You're so crazy. So one of these things that we do that, I as a wife try to think about, because hubby sometimes, doesn't, him trying to do everything and be everything for everybody, is we will do, for our date nights or date days, we'll do the whole pedicure together. And so I'm real glad that we do that, because
You can
sometimes
talk about that then.
we get that instead of going out to a nail salon or spa, we'll do that in home. And one of the things that we were able to do is to experience a product called, it's from the Baby Foot brand. It was originally created in Japan in 1997 as an easy and effective at home treatment, scientifically formulated with 16 natural extracts that do what we needed to do: exfoliate and moisturize at the same time, while just bringing the spa experience into the comfort of your home.
Yeah.
It was launched in the United States in 2012. Babyfoot quickly became a household name among foot exfoliant products. Babyfoot offers a selection of at-home foot care products that are quick and easy to use, and that's what we like. They offer actually trusted internationally with over 25 million. That's a lot. Babyfoot peels sold worldwide since 1997. That's 25 whole years. That's a long time, baby.
That is.
They've seen great success in big box retailers, grocery stores, podiatrist offices, colleges offices, everywhere, plastic surgeon offices, and it has made them the leading and most trusted brand. nationwide for the healthiest, smoothest feet. And the one thing that I love is a smooth feet rubbing me at night. And you
Because
express that to me.
I didn't have that before.
You express that to me often. The most innovative. It is the most innovative. Just the total foot care package. The gentle process leaves your skin undamaged while removing dead skin, revealing the healthy layer beneath that's like what it says, a baby's foot. It's simple, it's effective, y'all. It's effortless. It came packaged in a nice box and everything. And we had a that was a I was able to give you a happy
Yeah.
moment with a good happy ending. That's okay. I'm sorry.
The happy ending part.
But
I did have a happy
I
ending
know you
part.
do. You
But
always do.
anyway,
We didn't even say what it was, so there go your mind.
yeah.
However, y'all can actually go to www.babyfoot.com and guess what? Get 20% off your purchase. You can use our promo code. We have our own promo code with Babyfoot. It's what is it, baby?
Mobleys 20.
Mobleys
Mobleys.
S.
The number 20.
Yeah, 20. Don't forget the S on Mobleys. Again, www.babyfoot.com. Put in our code Mobleys20 to get your 20% off that purchase. Y'all, I promise you, you won't regret it. Okay? So those
She
are.
touched my feet now.
I touch your feet, baby.
She ain't used to touch my feet.
Yeah, it was a little rough, but that's the one thing that I do that I love to do for us, and I know you love to do it for us is for us to indulge in some form of self care, and for us, whether it's us going to get our hair cut, whether it's I'm trying to talk you into getting another manicure as well because you did get it one time, but yeah,
I don't get them enough, but I need to.
we had a good time. Just I'll be trying to play like another woman. Um, you, I'm not gonna share my Korean name.
I'm about to
with
say
them tonight.
stop
Okay.
giving them too much. Cause I feel like you go.
Okay. I was gonna give them too
You
much.
opening the gate and then you just
Right,
go keep
but
going.
again,
And
y'all, in order to in order to cancel out the whole thing with the fear and the anger and all that stuff, you can combat that stuff with happiness and positivity and all those things that when I understood what it took, especially for the toll that it can take on a man to just being a man and trying to figure out how to
yeah,
I guess be who you've been called to be, just first and foremost in the earth, and then as a part of a family, and then as a father, and then what I'm saying, all that stuff that's on you. I try to help take away some of that, all of that from being on your shoulders, and so
yeah.
we just try to create as many happy moments as we possibly can.
The biggest help you give me is being a soundboard for me to talk through stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
being that you are my rib, I can be completely transparent with you, and I ain't worrying about you judging or
absolutely,
diminishing or nothing like that.
yeah,
And I will say what I'm feeling. It just is what it is. But yeah, at one point it wasn't like that.
right. Yeah, and we want to be clear with that, y'all. At one point, we didn't come out of the box just being able to be at this point now. It did take it took a lot of time.
Yeah, and
And
it took
because
us.
I think for a while I think I just felt like there was nothing that you couldn't do. Nothing was impossible. You knew it all, you could do it all, and you were strong, and you were this and you were that, and you know um when we did go through adversity, it helped me to see that yeah, you're all these things, and you're an amazing human, but you're just that, you're human, and you were going to make mistakes,
Yeah,
and you were going to fall, and you were going to be fearful, and you were, I don't know where this coming from, but I remember that night that we thought there was a rat in the house. We lived in it was another house. It was a house, and it was easy for them, I think, in the neighborhood, for them to get in or something like that or whatever. Um and because there was a door that led out um to the I think we had a deep freezer in there, was part of the garage area,
Yeah.
and we would keep like the cover thing up under the door,
Yeah.
and we thought that it got in. We thought that it got in the house, and that it was you know those Tupperware containers that your mama them had, that you used to put the grits and the rice and all those the plastic containers, and we thought that it was behind on the counter behind the container, and I was like, "Whoa, it's in the house!" And you told the kids, "Go in the room, get in the room, and make sure nothing can't come up under your door or whatever. Go in the room and don't come out." And me and you was in the we came in the living room, I think, area, and came around that wall right there, and was like looking in, trying to see if we could see if it was behind the container. And I think for me, that was the first time I saw you like a little apprehensive, because any other thing, it was like, man, I got this. But that moment, that night, you was looking like, man, I don't even
I ain't do rats.
listen. At that moment, you was looking like, man, I ain't even.
do rats.
You listen,
A mouse?
Look,
I got you. A rat?
you
I was Googling. I like, they attack you and bite you. What? They eat flesh. What the world?
We were literally, there was like a big like stone divider, but from the living room to the kitchen, and me and Johnny was looking around the corner like this, like, is that it behind the canister thing? And guess what it was, y'all? It wasn't even because we had to put something inside of the rice or the grits container to dip it out. So it was we had
The
a
shadow.
It was the shadow of the little cup that we had inside of the container to dip the rice thing out, and we was hollering after it
And
was finally over.
because the mouse, I was like, the mouse ain't gonna stay still. He ain't gonna run. I said, this thing on Google say this rat go like it attack, it eat flesh, and yeah, I like what? I said that joker behind that container waiting on us. We waiting on him and he waiting on us. I was like, man,
that was the first time of fear that I ever saw in my husband, and I was like, oh Lord,
I was like, baby, get back.
Cause I'm scared, he's scared.
You need to get back somewhere, because if it jump out of here, I'm running, and whatever behind me, I'm running over. You don't need to be behind me. You need to move.
Thank you, Lord, for our journey. But
it wasn't. It took us a minute to get behind that container.
It did.
I had to come up with a plan.
You had to come up with a whole plan. Yeah, but again, just to be it takes maturity, it takes growth in a relationship. It takes the layers coming down and coming off, and being comfortable with one another to share those feelings of fear or anger and anxiety and all these different emotions that you may go through. I don't think I've ever been opposed to not sharing.
No. In the beginning, you was.
I was in the beginning. The only emotion you got was a whole bunch of tears.
But I think it's important. A lot of couples feel like they can't make it because they're two broken people.
Yeah.
Who want each other to work on making each other happy. Mm-hmm. Where the work needs to be in the individual,
right,
becoming whole,
right,
and that's why I think it gets twisted sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of a husband and wife feeling like they're on the same team and we can do this and it's us, they feel like it's you're the reason because of this. You don't make me happy. The only thing good is the sex, and that's fading a little bit. Mm-hmm. You all right, mama. You all right, daddy. So you make this whole pros and cons list, and this is our question all the time. You make this whole pros and cons list after you don't ask them to marry you, after they don't say yes, after y'all done did all this stuff. Now y'all here, and now y'all blame each other for y'all stuff, and y'all ain't even got nothing to do with that. It's working on yourself as an individual. Yeah. Take the initiative to work on yourself. You know you got crap with you. You already know, and I want to say the other word, but I ain't gonna say that because Allison probably gonna look at me crazy. But stuff. I know you got stuff with you. You know that. And because don't nobody know besides you, don't mean you don't have it.
Yeah.
Work it out, man. Get that stuff taken care of. That's it. work on becoming a whole person. If
Yeah.
you happy, then you can give to the relationship. You can help the relationship and give moments of happiness.
Yeah.
But if you can't give nobody nothing, if you ain't never happy,
Yeah. And why
you
do
can
you
only
need to talk
front for
about
so
it?
long.
Why do you need to, like Johnny said, deal with it? Because the restriction of emotional expression in men's lives and a lot of men's lives can lead to a greater sense of isolation, as we talked about, less support being available from their loved ones, health issues due to carrying chronic tension in the body and other bad coping
I
strategies.
done had that.
And for the longest, you know, Johnny carried it. And like I would tell him, and like I've shared with different people, like our bodies weren't built to carry that stress and anger and just all this negativity in our body. Because excuse me, because then it manifests in different ways, excuse me, different diseases and just different things altogether.
Yeah.
And so this is what all not dealing with it or not talking about it, not working through it, not getting coaching or counseling about it. It can lead to relationship difficulties that is caused by an inability to resolve those emotions. Um, and or a perceived lack of ability to be intimate. So it can block certain things in your life, in certain relationships in your life. Psychological problems such as depression, insomnia, anxiety. So as you can see, it's just a pattern of things
And
that come and, like you said, as a byproduct
yeah. And
from it.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna be
Okay.
transparent for a
Okay.
second. I don't even think I don't know if I told you this or not. But
Really?
in my life, at a point in time, I thought about killing myself. That's how much. That's where the overwhelming of being a man. That's how much pressure it was on me. I did. I literally thought about driving my car into a tree. I done thought about all that stuff. So I know this stuff is real. I know it's real. Now I didn't do it, and I at the time I always say the reason I didn't do it was because of you and the girls. Because if I wasn't here, what was y'all gonna do? And that what kept me. Now I'm mature enough to know that it was God. But yeah, it became so overwhelming that where I did not know what I was gonna do or what the answer was to a lot of things, and I just didn't want to be it no more. Now I don't need you calm. You looking at me crazy, but I'm being real because this gonna set some man free.
Mm,
You I was not. It wasn't until I understood that I was never meant to do this by myself.
yeah.
And when I say by myself, without my wife, without having conversations with her, without having solid men in my life to talk to that would give me positive.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's you just have to have that. I don't have yes men in my life. I got dudes who tell me the truth and who know. And we have relationships, so they already know. I got a partner that I can call, a couple of partners that I can call, and if they call me and I answer the phone a certain way, the first thing they ask me, what's wrong? You don't sound like yourself. What's going on? I needed that. I didn't know I needed that. But when I tell you it's important, it's so important because I know that it's men walking around listening. They probably listen to this podcast that don't talk to nobody who have thought about killing themselves because of the decisions, the choices, what you got on your back, what you carrying, how you trying to figure it out, all that stuff. You got to talk to somebody. You got to talk to somebody. It's not as bad. The day we was coming home, and it took me 30 minutes. My wife works 8 minutes from me, 8 miles from me. It took me 30 minutes to get to her because the traffic was just that bad. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, it got to be an accident. It got to be something. But putting the stuff in the GPS to come home, it gave us our normal time to get home. So to get to the destination, it looked like it looked worse than what it really was. And a lot of times when you keep this stuff isolated and you don't talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
it feels worse than it really is. But if you don't have the answers, if you don't know what to do, then ask for help. That don't make you less of a man. That don't make you less of a person. That don't make it that ask for help. Ask for help. I had to ask for help. I didn't know how to do stuff. My mom and my dad, great parents. But I had to learn some stuff my dad and mom didn't teach me. Because we living in a different time. So you just have to ask. Stop walking around with all this stuff in your head. Because that's the enemy come to kill, steal, and destroy. And the number one person he wants to pull out the house is the man. He wants to pull the man out the house, wants to have the woman with identity crisis because now she feel like she got to be the breadwinner. My wife is the breadwinner if she wants to be the breadwinner, not because she got to be the breadwinner. So it's just a lot of stuff. Once you get stuff out of alignment and you pull that piece out of it, when you pull the man out of it, then that jacks up everything. It does. And all because a man is feeling overwhelmed with not knowing how. Ask for help, man. Gotta ask for help.
Yeah.
And if you need to reach out, I would even put myself out there. If you want to reach out to me, you go to my website, www.momentswiththemobleys.com. You can go to our email info. You ain't got to tell me your name or nothing. You can just ask a question, ask how, this, that, and the other. And if I don't know the information, I will get it to you. I know I have great men in my life that we've all walked different places in our journey, but at the end of the day, we still men.
The
So
complete
because
email address, not to interrupt you,
is
is
info
at
at momentswiththemobleys.com.
.com. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. And I might need, I know I talked about doing something with some men before, so I might need to look into doing that.
Yeah.
Even if y'all go to my website, you can get my book, The GPS of a Man's Journey. It's a small book. It's a great read, and it's packed with information. It gives you some insight, man. For real.
Yeah. You moved into the next part of what we were going to share. It was about, strategies for getting to know your feelings better, getting to get the help that you need, being aware and in touch with yourself, with your feelings. Be aware about what's going on with your body, different stresses and tension and anxiety and different things can make your body respond differently. So be in tune with what's going on. It says anger might be experienced as a flush of heat in the face, sadness as a tightening of the throat, anxiety as a knot in the stomach. Just acknowledge, how you feel. I had to learn that acknowledge how you feel, not that you sit there and you stay there in it, but acknowledge that there's something else going on so you can therefore, deal with it. And that may be um you talking to somebody about it, whether it be your spouse, whether it be a counselor, somebody, outside of your immediate family, whether it be a trusted friend that you have. Learn how to, there are times when, excuse me, I know I feel a certain way, but I have to talk it out. And so I'll tell Johnny, I need to lay on your couch, and I don't need to be Deidre. I need to be a client tonight. And because I need you to tell me, hey, tell me what you hear me saying. Tell me the truth. I don't need you to try to be my husband, Johnny, and tell me stuff that'll make. Even though you tell me the truth, as my husband, I just want to be in a place of, let me be your patient and sit on, lay on your lap and lay my head on your lap and tell you um what's going on,
Yeah.
and you give me some insight onto it into it. Identify and express your feelings, and with that, the more you do it, the better you'll get at doing it. And so again, even as a woman, I had to allow myself, and this just happened within the last few years, to like um really come into I came into a revelation that I needed to deal with how I was feeling. Don't just say, Deidre, you can't just continue to say that I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, when it's obvious that there's something going on, and you need some things that you need to deal with. And just saying okay is not going to make it go away if you really have deep rooted feelings about some things that have gone on or that are going on. Bring it up, talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Put it in its perspective place and deal with it so you can move on healthy, because it's no good for and Johnny will tell you, I ain't trying to carry it. There may be a couple things that I might toil with, and if it goes on for too long, I'm like, what in the world are you doing? I'm checking my own self. And so, there are times when I say, babe, this is what's going on. This is how I've been feeling. I want to talk to you about it so I know that I ain't cracky. I ain't tripping. So I'm gonna say this to you, and you let me know what you hear me saying, because at the end of the day, um, I want to try to be healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, just, well rounded, because that's the life that I choose to lead. I'm not trying to trip on no drama, no whatever that nobody else is trying to bring into my life. It's just a part of, where you position yourself in life, what you will tolerate, what you won't, what you are going to deal with. And I had to, again, look at myself and deal with me. And a lot of us don't want to deal with us. I'm just saying, it is what it is. Um, so take the risk of showing your vulnerability with people you feel safe with. He's my safe space. There are a few people that is in that space, but in order to get healed from it, you gotta acknowledge that you're dealing with it.
Yeah.
Period. Um, Give yourself permission to be human. Again, what I just said, it can bring you closer to others, and bring you a sense of relief. 9 times out of 10, that's what you're gonna get. I'm vulnerable enough to say, and even when I remember one time I was dealing with something, and this was some years ago. I was dealing with it, and it was real heavy on me. And I said that I had been praying about it and asking God to release me from it. And it was just there. It was just there. And Johnny was able to shine a light on it, and he was like, "Well, babe, you say that this is who you are, and if this is who you are, then how then how can you not deal with it? How can you be so quick to cut people off without dealing with it, without talking about it, without facing it?" And so for me, that was a revelation for me, because I had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just learned a better way. I found a better way. I learned a better way to deal with it, where to put it where it went, and not let it burden me down. Um, Again, like Johnny already said, ask for help when you need it. Ask for help when you need it. If we don't know how to help you, we'll direct you to the right people that need to help you. The biggest part, I think, the biggest hold up, or the biggest thing that blocks people from getting the help that they need, is they don't want to look crazy or look like they having a issue in the first place. But then reaching out to somebody that they can trust to point them in the right direction. 9 times out of 10, you say it, somebody knows somebody that can help you.
And most of the time, you don't reach out because you don't. That's trust issues with the person that you might be cool with. So if you trying to present yourself as something that you're really not, you can only do it for so long. We always say representatives are not there for the duration; they're just there for a moment
Yeah,
to get you in the door. But after you get in the door, then the real you got to show up and handle business.
yeah,
Representative ain't built for that, so you have to just be mindful of that. But if you are right now, if in my life I have people who have substance, everybody in my life brings something to the table. Everybody. Everybody that's in my life, in my circle, brings something to the table. Now, if you don't bring something to the table, if you just cool and we friends, and that's cool too. I got those too. They outside the circle though. when I'm moving, I need the people who bring something to bring something. And that's not meaning that I'm using anybody. But I need people of worth and substance that when I move, they move. And if
Just
we
like
benefit,
Just like that.
we benefit if we move together. And I know the people with me, if something hits us, they not just gonna crumble. Because most of the time, you have a gang of people with you when it's benefiting them. But then when you hit trouble, you usually wind up by yourself. And that we done been through seasons like that. I'm not having that no more. And that's because of my decisions, the choices that I have, the choices that we have, and the people that we have coveted with that we call friends.
And so just know your circle, know
Yeah.
your people.
And
That's
it ain't no hit to nobody that might know us or none of that. That ain't none of that. But I mean, I'm 50. Joker, you know if you in the circle or not. Ain't no game, and we ain't playing no game. You know if you in the circle or not.
Well, he going real deep in, y'all. All I said was talk to somebody that you can trust. And that
But
you
what
know,
I'm saying is
I
we
get
live
you,
all
baby.
these false lives trying to be something for somebody who they don't care for you like that. They don't. You'll
Just
find
make
out.
sure that you're healthy. Just make sure that you're okay, and that you have good emotional health, and that you're dealing with the stuff before it did. You don't deal with it, it's gonna deal with you.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time. So
Yeah.
there you have it. Thank you. I'm glad to be your safe space, and I'm glad that you're mine, and that we don't walk around with a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff.
Negative. Can't happen.
Ever, ever. Ever, ever.
Can't happen.
Ever, ever.
All right. Well, that was a good chat.
I appreciate you, Mo.
And again, like
Why
I
you looking
said,
at me like that?
you know what? And again, like I said, if real talk, if any man out there under the sound of my voice, you know a man who might be going through something, whether depression or anything, have him reach out to me. info@momentswiththemobleys.com. Just email. Don't have to leave their name. They ain't got to give nothing. But if they listen to the podcast, they ask questions, then I'll give answers.
Yeah. Send a
And
DM.
if I can't give an answer, I'll find you an answer.
Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
Messenger.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for listening.
My soldier list, it ain't big, but they all snipers. So that's a man thing you wouldn't get. You got
Okay,
that?
we about to go, y'all.
Did you get that?
I'm a sniper.
Oh, my boys, we ain't a whole lot of us, but we
Babe.
snipers.
Babe,
Huh?
go ahead and close it out.
What you ain't
They
finna
wanna
do
hear about you
is
with
tell
the
me
voice.
to rest.
Go ahead.
That ain't what you about to
Go.
do. Don't tell me to relax. No. This has been
Relax.
Moments with the Mobleys. I am your man, Johnnie Mobley Jr.
What'd you say I said to you?
Relax.
No.
No,
Oh,
I'm not doing
no,
that with you.
You can't say that.
What
What
are
in
you-
the world am I thinking? End it. This
is
has been.
This has been. See, you got me flustered.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't know what in the world I was thinking.
This has been Moments with the Mobleys. I am your man, Johnnie Mobley Jr.
I'm his wife, Deidra.
And we something like an ordinary couple.
With extraordinary purpose.
Peace out, y'all.
Night, night.